Hey guys, welcome to the flipped lesson on how to solve verbal problems involving quadratic equations. So what I want you to do, before you start to write anything, you will write notes based on what you see. I want you to just watch the videos first, then go back and watch them again. That's when you'll copy the notes. But before we can jump into doing the verbal problems that involve quadratic equations, we have to review how to solve a quadratic equation. Now if you look, you have to remember that solving a quadratic equation, all we're really doing, if you look at the picture to the right, is finding the roots. We're finding where the parabola, or where the graph of the function that we're given, touches the x-axis. You could see in the parabola at the right, if we were to graph it, it touches the x-axis at one point, so the solution would be -1, which is given here. So we're going to review on this video just how to solve these types of equations. So when it says to find the roots, remember, you're finding, if you notice in this point, the y value is 0. And in every case where the graph crosses the x-axis, the y value will be 0. Because of that, when we want to find the roots of a quadratic equation, we replace y with 0. So to solve this, we take the equation x squared plus 2x plus 1, and we replace the y with 0. So we set it equal to 0. Now, what you have to follow is the steps that you see up here. First one is to move all terms to one side of the equal sign. You do this so that you could find the roots, also called the solutions. In this case, you notice all of the values are equal to 0, so we have everything on one side. So after that, you eliminate parentheses and simplify if necessary. In this case, we don't have any parentheses or anything to simplify. And we just have a trinomial. So to solve, we factor the trinomial. So this will be step 2. We factor x squared plus 2x plus 1. And we say, we know that the term x squared is split up. And the last term inside the parentheses should multiply to the number I'm circling and add up to the one that I'm boxing out. And we know that 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So my two factors are 1 and 1. Okay? So, to do this, remember the multiplication property of 0 says that if you have two numbers, and I'm going to do it over here to the side, if you have two numbers where their product is 0, then either a equals 0 or b equals 0. Therefore, we have to account for that. So we set both factors equal to 0 by making a t-chart and splitting them up. So I get x plus 1 equals 0 and x plus 1 equals 0. If you already noticed, these are the same factors. So doing it twice is unnecessary. So this is unnecessary. To solve for x, we subtract 1 from both sides, and we get x equals -1. To make sure we did it right, though, we should check. So take the original equation, in this case, y equals x squared plus 2x plus 1, and substitute in your value for x to see if you got it right. So you should get, when you substitute in -1, -1 squared plus 2 times -1 plus 1 should equal 0. -1 squared, we'll simplify that first, becomes 1 plus 2 times -1 is -2 plus 1. Simplify 2 at a time. 1 plus -1, 1 plus -2 is -1. Bring down the plus 1. And -1 plus 1 is 0. 0 equals 0, so we know we are correct. Therefore, our solution, x equals -1, is correct. So we write the solution typically in a solution set, which is -1. Okay, and that's represented up here in the root. Okay, so that's how we solve quadratic equations. Remember, get everything equal to 0, factor the trinomial or the polynomial, whatever you have, and then set each factor equal to 0 and solve. Now you can move to the next video, which is going to be the first word problem that results in something like this.